Good morning and welcome back to the channel Grand Colombia. Welcome to another Coffee Time Live. Piecing it together. Weather's awesome. Been getting some nice rainstorms. Today, most of the Colombia information will come to you in the question and answer period because the things I'm going to talk about, well, I guess it has something to do with Colombia because these things are about my adventures, my life in Grand Colombia, in Ecuador and Colombia. And I'm here and these things happen to me, but I definitely have to give you an update on what's going on and why I don't really have a big topic happening because so, what do we have? First of all, you may notice things look a little bit different, and that's because my desktop is out of the fight. They gave up the ghost this morning as I was preparing to do this. And as a matter of fact, this morning I get up at 6 o'clock and I come right out here to my prep time for my topics that I had, just topics named. I was going to outline them. And the desktop failed. And so then I end up spending the rest of the morning trying to get my laptop to function, which also experienced some pretty good water damage. Let me quick run down through the comments. I don't have access to a number of things. I don't have my control board, but I got an email this morning from Juka for his contribution. Thank you very much. Jerry, good morning. How you? I got yours already before we came on. Thank you very much. That'll definitely help. Dennis, good morning from Asuncion. I don't have access to my normal chats either, so you're going to see me looking down quite a bit today. Rob, good morning. How you doing? Fort Lauderdale, I guess you didn't get wiped off the mat. I know he's working as he's watching this. We're listening to it. Dennis, how'd you fare with Ivan? It was Ian. But we're all confused because we don't have Ian's pronouns. Bill, good morning from Cali. How you doing? Mike, you got your internet going? I know it's hit and miss out there. It's why I didn't move out there. I wanted Mike to come on today, but his internet isn't functioning well enough to do that. Greetings from Finland. How you doing? I saw an Icelandic comedian the other day on YouTube, and it was hilarious. I don't remember his name, but he was comparing Finland to Norway to Denmark. He never mentioned Sweden, to Iceland, and particularly the way that they talk. And it was pretty hilarious. Anyway, can't remember the name, so I can't tell you guys who to go look for. But it was on Netflix. So if you look for an Icelandic comedian, it's quite funny. George, how you doing, George? Yeah, what's this one? ¿Cuál es la ley? Hello from beautiful Pereira. Well, we all have our opinions on that. My mistake. What was your mistake? Oh, the Ian. Mike, how you doing, Mike? Okay, so for the next probably month, I'm going to have to run on this jury rig setup. I had to do a month subscription on an online service, StreamYard, running it off my laptop. Some of my keys don't work. When it got soaked, it damaged a few things, but it's up and running. I'm very limited because I can only plug in so many USB items. I've been going day and night trying to figure out exactly what's wrong so I don't waste any money and try to get things working. Our language is not difficult, it's impossible. Yeah, he said that in Iceland they have the language of the Vikings. It's the most retained version of what the Vikings were, primarily because they're off in the middle of nowhere. And the one that was funny was, and I can't do it because I don't speak the language, but when he was talking about Norway and the way they raise up at the end, and okay, I shouldn't even start talking about it because it's funny to me because I saw it. To you, it'll mean nothing. So, yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy. I recognize that name. It was hilarious. He's got a Netflix special, and it's very, like you would expect. It's very wholesome, very 50s kind of. But I just found it very funny. Yeah, thanks for looking that up. Okay, I want to show you something here so that everybody knows what I'm talking about. Oh, before that, I had to go to Home Center. I was looking to see if they had, I need a USB hub. It's got to have at least 10 plugins. It's got to be a 3.0 and it's got to be powered. Those particular things make a hub pretty expensive. And I found one online for about $125. And so I ordered it up, but it's not going to be here until the middle of October. And I'm going to be busy the time it arrives. So it'll be 3 days after that. So I won't have use of it for a while. So I went over to Home Center to see if they had one. And of course, they just carried the usual ones that most people have, 2.0, no external power. But while I was there, I thought it was pretty funny because somebody was just telling me they're back in the United States. And they were complaining because Halloween and Thanksgiving stuff is already out in the department stores. And he said, next thing you know, we'll be looking at Christmas stuff. So I walk into Home Center and this is what I saw just as I walked in. He's about 4 foot tall, and I just thought of that conversation. Okay, so what happened to my computer system? Take a look at this. How wonderful. So basically, the way this house is constructed is all the eaves troughs are built into the building, which sounds like a good idea because you never have to go clean out eaves troughs, except the water's got to get in there somehow, right? And so it runs off the roof and down into this spout that takes it to the eaves trough, which carries it over to the downspout. Well, roofs get dirty. They're constantly getting dirty and debris. And so when it rains, that stuff gets washed down into the downspout. So the theory sounds good, but in reality, it plugs up. It may take a period of time, but it plugs up. And it plugged up. This is the second time it happened. First time here in the computer, it happened in my bedroom a few months back. And by the time I saw it there was about 2 inches of water throughout the bedroom, into the bathroom, the hallway. Here, I caught it sooner, but it had run for a while. And if you saw it coming down off that window, I have these white things, so I don't have, it diffuses the light, so I don't get bright light and then dark. And so it keeps it pretty steady for the camera. Well, it was coming down off of that, and you didn't really see it in that video. It was throwing it into the vents, the air vents on the side of the computer, and soaked everything. And I don't know how long it was like that. There was a fair amount of water on the floor. The entire studio was flooded. I will say I got a hold of the landlord, and he was here with a repairman, and I don't even think it was 15 minutes, which is like unheard of here. And they found the problem pretty quick. They cleaned up all the water. They wiped everything down. And I put a fan on everything to let everything, dry off. And then I started checking it out. And it wasn't good. I have to have to me, an expensive video card. Now, depending on who you are and what you do, it may not be a big deal to you. But to me, I saved a year to get this one. And this video card, it's an RTX 2060 with 12 gigabytes of RAM. And to do the kind of live streaming that I do, you really need something like that. I'd had one prior to that was NVIDIA 10 something, and it wasn't cutting it. Just wasn't work out. But I managed to sell it for what I paid for it. And then I bought the 2050 that's 2050 or 2060? 2060. Yeah, 2060. So anyway, I'm going through checking everything out. I found a problem. The CPU fan wasn't running consistently. I found what that was just connectors were wet, and I cleaned them off and dried them out and plugged them back in, and it's working fine. But the video card, it would run for a while, and then the screens would just go haywire. They would just throw all kinds of colors out, and sometimes they go solid color, sometimes it would be squiggles. It just, both screens would just go nuts. So I did the same thing. I went through all the connectors, drying everything out. I took the card out, put the card back in, and then I had to download some software. I haven't worked on computers in years to any extent, and so I didn't have any software or anything. So I managed to get some software downloaded, and in the periods of time it would be up for a little while. And I got one to diagnose the video card, and everything looked great until it didn't. $300 for the video card. Yeah, the cheapest I can get one here is $400. It's $300 for the card, and it's a $100 import fee. And I couldn't find one here in country for any less. So that's what happens if you don't plan. If you have an emergency, sometimes you run into that. If I had more time, it was something I was planning out. I would plan out for a number of months. I would keep my eye out, and at some point, one would come along at a better price. But, it's kind of like trying to get a hotel room with a week's notice. You get what you get. So, yeah, it will be $400. So anyway, I was able to control everything on the card. It's a relatively advanced card, and I got some things that weren't, like the fans weren't kicking on enough. I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe it's overheating and that's what's causing it. But I got control of the fan. And bottom line, what happened is the card itself, it's got an intermittent issue. So no matter what I do with it, after it runs for a while, it's going to go haywire. It's in the circuit board itself. Nothing I can do about it. So, and no, I won't sell it as a used card. Somebody said, "Oh, you can sell it as a used card." I wouldn't do that because I know that's going to be a problem. It's weird looking at blank monitors. So that's the deal. That's who's crying, and that's why we're in the situation we're in. Yeah, I think it appears that the hub that I've got coming and the video card, which I'm trying to find a better price. I can swing the 300, but the 400, I don't know. I'm going to look, maybe I can find a used one or something. So I'm still trying to find it. The other issue is the card. The soonest I could get the card here, no matter where I'm getting it from, be it here in Colombia or through Amazon or a number of other things I checked out. I think it was the 18th is the soonest I can get it here. So that's why I say I'm stuck on this laptop, this broken laptop. I don't have a lot of confidence in it because when I fired it up, it was so many things weren't functioning. And it's only got 3 USB ports. And for what I do, I really need 10. But I got 3. So I've got the sound plugged in, I've got the video card plugged in, and I've got one of my disk drives. I actually have 3 disk drives that I operate everything on, and so it's bare bones until I can get that hub anyway. There's a lot of things I don't even have access to. So that's what's going on. What are you going to do? I mean, stuff like that happens. Somebody asked me this morning, well, do you have homeowners insurance? And no. I'm a renter, don't have renter insurance. I suppose something like that might be possible here. I never looked into it. It's kind of a society of, whatever happens, you have to deal with it. It's like personal responsibility. So I don't know. And he said, well, that sucks. And well, not really, because one of the many reasons things are relatively cheap here is because of that. You just don't really have a lot of lawsuits, which keeps prices within reason. So there's that. Now, I do want to cover at least something about Colombia today. And in the news, let me see if I can share this. I don't know if I can. Share screen. Window. Is it going to let me? Chrome tab. Share. Yeah, it's letting me. All right. So I look up in my Condeo news, and we've got an article here on unemployment. Let me switch that to English. The unemployment rate keeps coming down, which is a good thing. And what cities are the highest and lowest unemployment rate? So the highest unemployment rate, there's Ibagué. Dan, take a look at that. So those 3. And then the best employment picture is Bucaramanga, Manizales, and Cartagena. None of those are surprised. Cartagena, because it's a big tourist area, so it's always busy. Manizales and Bucaramanga, just because they tend to be wealthier than most of Colombia. So there's that. And what else we got? Here's one, kind of sucks. Starting today, the price of gasoline will begin to rise. And it will go up every month till December by 200 pesos. So it's been 9,500 as of October 1st. It goes in Armenia, it goes to 9,700, and then it'll go to 9,900, and then there'll be one more 200 peso hit, and that'll be it for a while. Where are we at here? There's Pereira, here's Armenia, Manizales. These are all about the same. So, I mean, it's still cheap, but not sure exactly the reason. I have a suspicion, but that was some of the prep I was going to do today. And what else here? We've got a lot of people complaining this year about ambulance services. Now, the way the ambulance service works is they're privately owned, but they operate on a set of regulations, and they're set up strategically throughout the city. So you've got these ambulance depots placed throughout the city so that worst case, an ambulance will take, at the longest it will take is 15 minutes to get to where it's going. It could be 2 or 3 minutes, but where they're located, that'd be like the worst case situation. Except they're finding some are taking 40, 45 minutes. And so in looking into this, this is what they found. These ambulance drivers, and so consequently there's a crackdown, but these ambulance drivers, or not the drivers, but the dispatchers, owners, they're only going to car accident scenes for the most part, because if there's a car accident, then the SOAT or car insurance will guarantee coverage of that ambulance. If for some reason there's no insurance, then the country has a fund, and it will pay the ambulance cost out of that fund. So in other words, the ambulance is guaranteed payment if they go to car accidents. But if you're living in a poorer neighborhood and you have a heart attack, they might show up, but it might take a long time. And the reason this came to light is there was a young guy. He's on a student internship in Armenia, and he had let's say why. It doesn't identify what happened to him, but the ambulance didn't show up for 40 minutes. And in looking into it, they found out that this is the practice that they're doing. And if there's no guarantee of payment, then they may or may not take their time to get there. So the good thing is that they've discovered this and they're cracking down on it. And there are regulations. It shows a list of articles here that has regulations for this. So pretty sleazy, but that's the way things work sometimes. Okay, here's my news, and we run our normal course. Let me take a look at. All right. USA covers rental insurance overseas. Maybe, but I don't have them. I have insurance for about $9 a month in the States, which covers my possessions worldwide. Okay, but I don't. Maybe something to look into. Turtle, how you doing? Good morning. I just looked on Facebook Marketplace. There are numerous video cards for sale. Yeah, but it has to be of a certain type. Like the AMD cards won't work for the software that I use. It's got to be an NVIDIA. It can't be the MSI version of NVIDIA, but it can be an Asus version. Those are companies that will use those cards from NVIDIA and rebrand them. but they make a few differences to them. So it can be that, but it's got to be the RTX 2060. I don't know why I have this 2050 caught in my head. It's 50 or 60. I'm pretty sure it's 2060. I'm going to have to look. Well, I'll know as soon as I get off here. I'm just having a brain crunch. So I'll start looking at that. I've been hesitating. I'm concerned about getting a used one. Although I'm going to look at it, I'm going to consider it. But I mean, like what's going on with mine, that could very well be the kind of used one I end up buying. And the problem is when you buy something here, you buy it, unless you get it through Mercado Libre. There you've got some guarantees. Bill, finally retired, moved to Colombia. Lou's working on my visa. We tried doing it twice online with no success. They're on hold till October 22nd. Right. Yeah, it's not even online. So it's kind of a disaster right now. We decided to have her do it and already tell she's worth the money. She knows things that are not spelled out online. Yeah, they came out and they told everybody, this is how it's going to work. But then when they actually started doing it, to no surprise, what they said initially isn't the way it's actually working. And so at first you get this minefield you kind of have to navigate through to figure it out. It's what she does full time. So, she'll figure it out as quick as anybody. And, it is a tough period, the end of September through October, if you need a renewal or you need to get a visa. But then once it's over, it's over. 2060. All right, cool. I will be looking. I needed to confirm that it was actually the card because they are so much money. And it was just this morning I was finally able to be completely sure that it's a video card. Let's see. We're in Cali because of my family, but we'll move around Colombia after I get my visa. It's too hot here. Yeah, it's too hot. It's a filthy city. Yeah, just not a big fan. My son works for Blizzard Entertainment. I'll check with him in a few hours and see if he has a few extras hanging around. Please send me exactly what you want and need. An RTX 2060. I actually had it written down over here. RTX 2060 with 12 gigabytes of RAM. That's it. It's not a new card. It's probably been out maybe 4 years. They've come down in price quite a bit. These originally, I think, were like $500 or $600 cards, and as the new ones come out, they're into they did the 3000 series. They're into the 4000 series card. So it's a 2000 that I need. Just tip $25. Awesome. Thank you, George. I appreciate it. I can't believe the Stream Elements is working here on this software. Inside baseball won't mean anything to you, but I have no control over this. I did not expect, because it's embedded in the software that I normally use. I had no idea that it would actually function on here. I don't even know how it's doing it, but it's pretty cool. Okay. So that's my crying. That's my whining. I was asked what this will mean for those 2 trips that I had planned. I'm still going to go on the trips. I'm doing everything I can not to touch that money that I have set aside for those. But the nature of what I'm having to do to fix this, it will eat into that time. It's probably going to delay everything by 2 to 3 weeks. So instead of Bucaramanga towards the end of October. It looks like it'll probably be into November before I get to go. Just how it is. I mean, I have to get this going. I've got to get it up and running. And I've got to figure out to make sure if this ever happens again, what I can do to protect it. It has to be in that location, but maybe I can build a little tent over it or something. Yeah, I mean, once they clean it out, it's probably good for another 5 years or so, but still, you kind of lack confidence after a while. All right, do we have any questions about Colombia in general? I feel bad. I apologize for just not being prepared. It's the last couple of weeks, I've just had so much going on that the preparation has been weak, and today virtually non-existent. I'm tired. I want to get some sleep. I mean, I've been up 3-4 o'clock in the morning trying to sort this out. I mean, it's like for me, it's panic. I mean, it's what I do. Imagine being a car mechanic and your toolbox disappeared. Yeah, that's a pretty good analogy. All right, are we still online? It looks like we are. Let's see. Do we have any questions? Yeah, I knew it was going to be a rough week when the Bills lost. when they should have won that game, like they had like opportunity after opportunity to win that game. But going into it, I just thought it was going to be a disaster anyway. They had 8 starters on defense were out, and they had 4 starters on offense out. They had several of the second stringers out, and so 2 or 3 positions were actually started by third stringers. They had to pull a couple people off a practice squad. Plus, they said down on the field, it was 120. It got as hot as 124 degrees. Now, both teams were falling out, but I'll give it to Miami, my lifelong enemies. But I'll give it to them because their defense just kept pouring it on. Their offense fell apart, but it's just how it goes sometimes. How visa and arrival work, and how often you can return to Colombia when your visa expired. Okay, when you come to Colombia without a visa, you get a stamp for 90 days. You can extend that 90 days for another 90 days. Now, the first 90 days, let's say you're here for 2 weeks and you leave, then that 90 days goes on hold. It only takes 2 weeks off it. You might come back here 6 months later and it starts up again, 90 days minus 2 weeks. But if you extend it another 90 days to get a total of 180 days or half a year, then when that starts, that clock runs whether you're here or not for the second part of it. So if it begins and you're only here for a month and you leave, those 2 months, when those 2 months come around, it'll expire and you can't return on it. You get those 90 days every year. So every year you can come 90 days without having to deal with any kind of visa, just using your passport. If you're going to be a tourist, you can get a tourist visa. If you're retired, retirement visa. Digital nomad is a new type of visa. You can get investment visas, business visas, student visas. There's all kinds of visas you can get that will go generally from usually from a year to some are up to permanent right away, depending on what it is. So it really depends on your circumstances, your situation. What you probably want to do is get a hold of a visa agent, explain your circumstances, and let them tell you. I don't put myself out as an expert. I'm pretty much up to the kind of visas that I need, and those I tend to talk retirement visa in a little more detail on. And when I do the updates on visas, those are the only ones I really talk about. So if you want to know about, an investment visa or student visa or something, check with an agent. Don't ask somebody who doesn't really know. I haven't been through it. I can read like you can read. So, when it comes to those, I'm not really giving you anything that you can't get yourself. Just go to the Colombian website and take a look at the requirements. I do hear things from other people that get them, and so I get certain impressions, but don't make your plans around it. Now, I'm pretty confident on the retirement because not only I've been through it, but I've been through the renewals and all of that, so I can speak with some confidence on that. All right. Last call. Any questions? I want to thank you again. George, thank you. Juka, thank you. Jerry, of course, thank you. I really appreciate it. We had our first session on building a channel. Two people didn't show. But I'm trying to put together a recording of that and put it up so it won't be lost. Right now, it looks like it'll be a partial recording, but I'll try to get that posted up for tomorrow, maybe Tuesday, so that you can catch up. I think it was pretty good. And even if you're familiar with this, I've been doing this for about 6 years, and so I can give you some insights. Mostly, as I mentioned in the first session, one, I like to see people do it. It's not like competition. It doesn't work that way. But two is every mistake you could possibly make, I've probably made it. And the reason I do this is so that if you're going to, start this, and I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I enjoy doing it. I want to be able to give you information so you don't make those same mistakes, because many people are like me. You really can't afford to make those mistakes. And every time you make one, it costs money. There's a big setback. Now, this water thing, that wasn't a mistake. It just, act of God. Well, I don't think even God did it. It just happened. So, what are you going to do? That's was part of life. What do we got here? Just found out New York State retirement can use a VPN to go to their website. Luckily, I had a friend who could complete some missing items. Okay, cool. My only retirement is Social Security. I had retirement, but when I had the cancer, basically all my everything I planned all my life went up in smoke. And stupid me, I didn't realize that I had the military coverage until after I didn't have any money left. Anyway, nice. 46.10 pesos to $1. Well, in climbing, maybe. It was at 4,600 like 5 months ago. These things fluctuate. I think the 4,300 to 4,600 seems to be the sweet spot that we're going to run in for a while. What a difference. I went and I had to pull 2 million pesos out from the ATM. And I did the Davivienda. And of course, when it comes up to the screen, do you accept this? I said no. I rejected the amount. And the amount for the 2 million pesos on the screen was somewhere around 400 or 4,800. No, what was it? $480 US dollars for the 2 million pesos. And I rejected it, and it turned out to be about $440 after I rejected it. So I saved $40 on that transaction. That's a pretty significant, what's that, 20% or something? I mean, that's pretty significant. So happy about that. Is it too late to join the YouTube video class? It's not. The best way is to send me a WhatsApp. Send me an email. I'll give you my WhatsApp number, and I'll get you in, because that first one with the general information, what we're going to cover, I'm going to be able to post up at least the bulk of that, so you can watch that, catch up, to see where we're at. You know, what's the purpose? What are we covering? What are we going to be talking about? And then this Saturday at 1 o'clock, we'll have our next session, and we'll dial it in. I'm going to change the software that I used for that. I don't like the way it worked, and so I'm actually going to use the software that I'm using right now for this live stream, since I had to fork over the money to so I could have a live stream today. So it's paid for, so we might as well use this one. It works easier than the podcasting one that I was trying to use. Okay, anything else? All right, we're going to call it a day. I'm going to try to get my act together for next week. I'll see if I can fine tune this laptop a little bit and just accept that it's going to be a streamlined version going forward. Is WhatsApp the only option? Does WhatsApp have a desktop version? It is the only option because it's what everybody else is using. But if you're visiting or planning to live in Colombia, the number one communication platform by far is WhatsApp, especially if your language skills are weak, because you can translate Google, paste it into WhatsApp. And even if you have no Spanish, you can have some rudimentary conversations with people doing that. WhatsApp is the way to go. We're not doing the classes in WhatsApp. The WhatsApp is for communication amongst ourselves about what to have for preparation, if we're going to have a different time or day, what's the link to get into the next session, like that. So that's the WhatsApp is basically just some administrative stuff that we have to have. They have a web version. Yeah, I keep it on my web. I have people all the time. I keep it on my desktop, and it's on my phone. And so if in WhatsApp, if you can change the settings, but if you look at a message but don't respond, people can tell because it gives 2 blue check marks saying that you saw it. Well, I'll keep the phone in my pocket. Maybe I'm out doing something. I'll come back and I'll have somebody say, I know you're seeing my messages. Why aren't you responding to me? Because it's on my desktop, and that one, I don't have to be here. It just happens. You don't understand. I'm not ignoring you. I've been busy. Women, right? Okay, I'll check it out and get in touch. Yeah, just send me an email and I'll send you my WhatsApp number. WhatsApp, it doesn't take a lot of space. You can use it on your phone. You don't have to put it on desktop. You have to have it on your phone for the desktop to work. I'll tell you that. So just for this, I mean, if you don't use it for other things, just, we'll do it for this. And then after we're done, what do we figure? Probably maybe 4 or 5 sessions, and this will be over anyway. So, so when we get done with this, then you can just delete WhatsApp off your phone if you're not interested. But like I say, if you're coming to Colombia, it's almost a must. Okay. All right. Those are the late coming messages. And we're going to end it here. Again, thank you for those who are helping me. Thanks, Turtle, for that information. I'm going to take a look. I'll look forward to see if your son has any light to shed on this. And if he's got something kicking around, I probably wouldn't have to pay the import fee, which amounts to about $100 if it's a used item, particularly if he just wrapped it in an old rag or something, wasn't in a box. So that could be a real plus. All right, so we're going to end it here. I will see you next week. And for the people that are in the how to build a channel sessions, I will see you on Saturday. Ciao.